In Lusatia, close to the Polish border, women are becoming increasingly rare. Like many of her generation, Claudia Keller left the region to study. She returned 3 years ago to be closer to her family and open a plant nursery.
I produce herbs, shrubs, a few vegetables, but mainly flowers.
Born in 1983, Claudia Keller is an exception. Since the fall of the wall, a third of the population has left the region, and unlike her, many women have never returned.
There aren't many of them, so I'm delighted every time I bump into a familiar face at the market. But it's a minority. I'd say 80% never came back. Ever since the fall of the wall, they've been telling us to leave. There's no future.
Lusatia is one of the regions most affected by a lack of women. After 1989 and the collapse of East German industry, many left because they had to, and the women rarely returned. For Rennie and Holger, who were visiting Görlitz market, it is obvious why.
It was tough here in the 90s. We couldn't find work. You couldn't earn a decent wage.
Women who left after the fall of the wall and found a partner in the West tend to stay there because they find new roots and start a family. Perhaps for men it's easier to come back.
Görlitz, completely restored since reunification, has a lot to offer, including exceptional architecture and low rents. 5,000 Poles now live in the town, and since 2015, 500 people have been housed there free of charge for a few months, albeit without much success. Compensating for such an exodus looks like mission impossible.
We're missing a whole generation. All those who left at the time were between 20 and 30 years old. And in many cases, they started their families not in Görlitz, but elsewhere. It's changed the face of the town.
No other region in the world, not even the Arctic Circle, has lost so many women in such a short space of time as Eastern Germany. The average age is rapidly rising. In Lusatia, which still lives off coal, job offers rarely arouse the interest of those who might return. Social scientist Willy Mahler says social pressure does the rest.
It's a loss society feels and the men also experience on a daily basis. The couples market is smaller and that doesn't improve the demographic development of these regions. That's not an argument to bring women back, rather it makes the city even less attractive for women because they feel under pressure.
To encourage women to stay, Willy Mahler has set up a self-help network for those who want to get involved in community, cultural and political projects. While the shortage of women contributes to the ageing of the population, some studies suggest that it also leads to political radicalisation. It is in the regions of the former East Germany that the far-right AfD party has flourished.
What citizen initiatives in the region give you hope and courage?
For the last 3 years, this group of activists from Berlin has been running a series of workshops in Lusatia. Their aim, to give the women of the region the tools they need to resist.
In all regions where extreme right-wing movements have a strong presence, women often choose to leave because they impose certain ideas on gender and the patriarchy. This is not how we want to live. We can fight these structures, but we still have a long way to go.
For the time being, the vicious cycle is far from being broken. More than a quarter of young women in the region are considering leaving.